as much as I love to suffer, there's one thing that I love even more than suffering myself, and that is making other people suffer and just watching them break down and seeing how miserable they are. And I guess that makes me sound like a little bit of a sadist, or I guess, is it sadist? Yeah, it's sadist. Masochist is a person who likes pain. Sadist is a person who likes to inflict pain. But nonetheless, I love to take people on long days and climbs and just watch them suffer. And in today's episode, I'm going to tell you guys a story about how I made two of my friends just absolutely bitterly suffer on a climb called hydrophobia. What is up, guys? For those of you new to the channel, my name is Philip Setter. I'm an avid rock climber, ice climber, and backcountry skier from Canada. I'm also an insurance broker who specializes in insuring those individuals that are engaged in those sports. So if that sounds interesting, I'll put a link in the description, but let's just get into the episode. Okay, for anyone who's followed this channel for any amount of time, you'll know about my good buddy, Matt. And you'll know him because he's the guy in every single video that I'm just torturing and making suffer. And he always seems to be having, not a bad day, but he always just seems to be suffering his way through. So, Matt, there's so many climbs that we've done. And it's like, here's the thing. It's like, I love Matt to death. Matt, if you're listening to this, I love you, bro. But like, I think, he's one of those guys that he like wants to say that he's a climber. You know what I mean? Like, he bought all the equipment. He has all the ice screws. He's got the tools. He's got all the things. Because maybe he like saw a few posts, he saw a few other people doing it, and he's like, this looks awesome. I want to be an ice climber. I want to be a rock climber, whatever it is, right? The problem is that when it actually comes time to go out and do it, he's like, this sucks. We have to walk really far. It's really fucking cold out. I don't like this. This is hard. My hands hurt. Everything hurts. And so he's just one of those guys that like you could get him stoked about climbing, but then once he's out there, he falls apart. And I think throughout the years that we've climbed together, he started to realize like, maybe I don't love climbing as much as you do, Philip. Like maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I do just want to stay at home. So as the years have gone on, it's definitely become harder and harder to drag Matt out. And it takes a lot, right? Like before I could call him up, be like, hey, let's go do this. He's like, sounds good. And then we started doing longer and harder climbs. And it's like, hey, let's go do this. And he's like, how cold is it tomorrow? What's the temperature? What's the wind? What direction is it going in? What's the humidity? How long of approach is it? What's the snow condition? How's the snow packed? Do I need snowshoes? I don't know. That all sounds very difficult. And so there's been a few things that I've just absolutely butchered him on. And you guys can, there's a few that are on the channel. I can't remember. You know me, I name things, the most ridiculous things on the channel, like ice climber has mental breakdown. But I think one of them is we went up to virtual reality to do virtual reality. And like, I love just watching him fall apart. I love watching anyone fall apart. Maybe that's not a good thing, right? But I love suffering so much that I just love to see what it does to other people. And I like to suffer with other people too and see how they're enjoying it as well. And some people really enjoy it and they push through, and some people do not enjoy it at all. So one of the ones that we went and did was virtual reality. Now, virtual reality is like a pretty good WI6. We went up there and, the whole way up, he's like, okay, the snowpack's pretty good. And then he saw this thing and he's like, nope. There's no way. And after the first pitch of like actual, climbing like WI5, he's like, nope, no way. I'm not doing it. Nope. Take me down, take me home. And so we went home. It was kind of windy and miserable, to his credit. And then there's been a few other climbs that he's absolutely suffered on. But then the one that I felt actually legitimately bad on was we went to go do hydrophobia. And hydrophobia is like a 3-hour slog to get there. It's located in kind of Whitepress, North Ghost area. It's a long walk through like these big fields, and it's just a slog to get there. And then you have to go through a forest. Anyways, so I convinced him to go out and do this with me. And we get out there, we're walking this whole time. And he does have, he's got some kind of like knee issue or something like that. He's got some kind of, I can't remember, some kind of like knee injury. He fell doing something so stupid. I think he was walking around with a laptop and he like missed a step, and then he's tweaked his knee ever since. So to his credit, as we're going, he's dying from his knee. So to his credit, it's not like suffering of just like endurance and suffering from pushing through it, suffering from pain. So that wasn't that great. Anyways, long story short for that, we did one pitch and he's like, dude, I cannot go another step. And that's kind of when I like started to like feel a little bit bad about making Matt suffer, because this wasn't like, he was pushing through endurance. This was like he was pushing through pain. So I did feel bad about that one. So we didn't finish hydro that day, and we had to go down. But my quest to make people suffer did not end that day. So I got another buddy of mine named Foster. This kid's awesome. He's been in a couple videos. He's from Edmonton, and dude loves to climb. He's awesome, awesome guy. And so I met him maybe like last summer or the summer before, and I met a couple of his brother. I think he's got two brothers, and then he's got this buddy named Elliot. And so we were dry tooling in the summer. We're all having a good time, and then in the winter, Foster will come down from Edmonton, and then he'll stay at my place in Calgary, and then we'll go out and we'll do a bunch of climbs together. And so like we were just tearing it up, and I was just taking him on everything. And so so it's awesome, and we're doing a bunch of climbs, and I don't even know what we were climbing. We're doing a bunch of fun stuff. And Elliot, this other kid, he lives in BC. I think he was in Kamloops. And so Foster would be texting Elliot, and he'd be like, "Oh man, like, oh, you wouldn't, but like, it was so hard. We went up this one climb, like Philip's taking me on all this wild stuff." And Elliot's just talking shit. He's like, "What do you mean it's hard? It's just ice." It's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're just being soft. Like, it's easy. Like, I don't know why you're being soft." So anyways, that continued for a little while. And then Elliot decided to come up for a trip. And so Foster came to me, and he's like, "Philip," he's like, "we have to go on something and just like absolutely make him suffer, like something gnarly hard and just make him suffer." And I was like, "Okay, well, like, let's pick something like, moderately gnarly. Like, let's not like make him hate his life. Like, maybe we shouldn't take him up like Whiteman Falls, on his like first ice climb of this season." And Whiteman Falls, if you don't know it, is like a WI6, and it's pretty stiff, actually, depending on what condition you get it in. But every time I've done it, it feels pretty stiff. But anyways, so I was like, why don't we go out and do hydrophobia? It's an awesome day. It's like lots of good, it's two like really good pitches. And, it's totally chill. Like, I mean, it's not chill. It's still like WI5, but it's not like, it's nothing like absolutely crazy. No, like crazy overhanging caves or like, chandelier ice or anything like that. Like, it's just, a pretty consistent WI5 for the whole way. So he's like, okay, that sounds good. And so we go out, and Elliot's mood from when he was safe in BC through text message to in person actually driving out to the ice climb totally changed. He's like, I don't know, maybe it is hard. And we're like, no, it's just ice, Elliot. It's easy. It's just ice. Oh my God. So anyways, we went out there. And if you've ever been to hydro, you'll know there's like one moment you've been walking through like a field for like, an hour, you like a forest trail for an hour, and then a field for an hour, and then another forest trail for an hour. And it's like it feels like you've been going forever. And so it's like, oh my goodness, like, is this ever going to end? And then all of a sudden you go into this like boulder field, right? And you start walking through these rocks, pardon me. And then as you're going through, you look up, and you see this like massive freaking like huge waterfall coming off the side of this mountain, just this frozen waterfall. And it's like from afar, it's like that thing looks like it's like 5 skyscrapers put together. There's like, that is not climbable. There's no way that is possible. And it's just like, that's the first time that you see it. You don't see it the entire walk in until that one moment. And then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck is that? And I remember the first time that I saw it when I first came there. It is one of the most intimidating things because it's like, oh my God. It's not like you see it from afar and you get closer and you start to like get accustomed to it. All of a sudden you're just like at the perfect viewing distance where you're far enough away that it like looks incredibly scary, but you're not like so far away that you can't make out details. So you're like just far enough away. Cause when you get like close to a climb, you can start to like break it down and, see the different, okay, that's the weakness and we're going to take that path. But you're like, we weren't there. We were far enough away to look at it. You can't see any of the weaknesses. And it just looks like this massive, imposing, like huge 200-meter waterfall that's like frozen, just dead vertical. And Elliot just looks at it. And his face, you can just see it in his face. He's like, what in the fuck is that? Oh man, I love that kid though. Elliot, if you're listening to this, buddy, I'm so sorry. So anyways, we get to the base of the climb. We're gearing up. And then two other climbers actually showed up like maybe 10 minutes later. They had came from the North Coast side. Super nice guys. And we were just talking to them, and then they were like, "Oh, like, are we done?" And I was like, "No, there's no way. Like, we'll put up like two separate lines. Like, don't even stress. We're all like, you just did like a 3-hour slog. We're all getting up this climb today. Like, don't worry about it, right? Like, we can just start at the same time and just like go up, and we'll just like climb together. It's not a problem." And so they're like, okay, sweet. So then we started out, we got to the base of the climb, and the very first, like, so you climb up, I don't know, like 50 meters of WI3 to this little like cave, okay? Well, and that's really where it starts. You just like solo up to the cave, and then it's like game on time. So right after the cave is like, I guess, the crux of the entire climb. So it's not like it's not a hard crux, but it is like this kind of like, narrow pillar, WI5, and you have to like climb it and then climb a slight overhang, like nothing crazy, but definitely like a little bit of an overhang. So anyways, the one guy just leads up that and then waits for me, and then I lead up it, and then we both continue on. And we finished the pitch just, at about 60 meters or so, just because he only had 60-meter ropes. And I was like, well, I don't want to be above you and be knocking ice. We might as well just stick together and do this in 3 pitches. And so we both got to the belay. We're kind of hanging out there at like a semi-hanging belay. And then I have obviously the two followers. I have Foster and Elliot. And then he's bringing his follower up. So I think he brings his follower up past this like one section, and then I was like, okay, well, we'll bring my 2 guys up now. So basically, yeah, I like start to bring the rope up, and they start climbing, and I can like feel one rope, and it's like it's going. So I'm just like pulling in the slack, pull it in the slack, and then I feel the other rope, and it's going, and then it stops, and then all of a sudden I just hear this yelling, "Take on blue." And I'm reefing on this rope, and I'm like, I can't take anymore. Like, that's it. and poor Elliot, then I feel the rope just go like super tight. Like he fell, obviously, right? Boom, super tight. And then I wait a bit, and then it like the slack goes off of it, and then a few moments go by, and then it's tight again. And it like whips me into the wall because it, pulls me in, and then it's loose, and then it's tight again. And this whole time I feel the other rope, Foster, continue to climb. And so like finally I yell down, and I'm like, "Foster, where's Elliot?" He's like, "I don't know." I was like, you can't just leave him, dude. He's probably like fallen, I don't know, like 8 times at this point. I was like, dude, you gotta like yell down and give him some positive reinforcement or something. So I felt so bad for Elliot because he just got absolutely butchered from that one crux section. And then he finally came up, and I felt so bad. It probably took him like 3 hours maybe to get up from that first pitch. Finally got to the belay. And I'm kind of just like, I'm looking at Foster and I'm looking at the other two guys, and I'm kind of like, we're not going to finish this climb today if he comes with us. And I felt so bad, but I didn't want to. So I didn't want to say anything, like I didn't, because I wanted to finish the climb, obviously, right? And I wanted the other guys to finish the climb. And so I kind of like, I looked at Foster and I was like, what are you thinking? Like, what are we going to do? He's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And so then Elliot came up and I'm just like, I'm very casually, I'm like, how was that, Elliot? And he's like, yeah, not great at all. I'm like, it's just ice, bro. He's like, yeah, maybe I'll take some of my statements back. And then, yeah. So anyways, then I'm like, well, how are you feeling about this next pitch? And he's like, no, he's like, I don't know. It's like, does it get easier? I'm like, it's the exact same, bro. It's the exact same. And he's like, okay, maybe, I don't know. What can we do? I'm like, well, you could come with us, or you could stay here. It's up to you, and we'll be like pretty quick. And he's like, yeah, I think I'll do that. So I felt so bad. Luckily, it was a super warm day. It was only like -2 or something like that. And so we built him a little anchor, and then we went on our way. We climbed just like way to the left. And me and Foster and then the other two guys finished the climb, and probably took us maybe like 2.5 hours or so, 2 hours, 2.5 hours to finish it and wrap down. And poor Elliot, he was just hanging out there for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But I guess he had cell phone reception just because it was high enough on the climb. So he's just on Tinder trying to get some matches. Oh, good. Yeah. So that was an awesome day. Moral of the story is, yeah, I love to make people suffer, and I'm sorry, Elliot, for that day. But ice can be hard, as he learned. Ice can definitely be hard. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.